How's it going? Ryan here. And today I'm going to review the one trade that I took off open on SPY today. Ended up being a winner. We'll review the price action through the day, kind of what my thoughts were. But before we get into that, we are on the daily time frame here. No levels from the daily time frame have been changed. Pretty much the same levels I've been watching for the past week or so. These two in here we did add from an hourly time frame, so we'll jump into an hourly time frame and look at those levels and why I charted those. But overall, nothing really new from the daily. We can see that 444 played a pretty important role. It was close to the low of the day before we rallied up and closed towards that level that I have off the hourly. But you can see that we made a high, made a pullback. I would not be surprised to see us bounce from here just looking at this candle. You have kind of a low volume sell off into a high volume daily candle that came all the way down to 444 and then closed about $2 higher. So yeah, pretty interesting. We had, it looks like, a pullback on potentially a move higher from there. But we'll jump into the hourly time frame here. We'll look at some of the stuff that I was watching. So the two new levels that I did add were this 446.76, 446.17. Those are just based on the high of the swing and then a level that we had some price action at or around in terms of acting as resistance supports once we're above it, multiple wicks off that same zone. So also that 446.76 was the high of this wick on this hourly candle. So some things lining up there. So those were two levels I got off the hourly chart as I thought that we might break lower that I was watching to target. We'll jump into a 15-minute here. We'll look at a couple last levels. So we have the high and the low of yesterday. We also have that demand zone from yesterday's trading session. However, in the pre-market, we had broken below that 448.5 level. I'm actually going to take a step back here for 1 second. The reason why I thought that 448.5 level was so important was because it was our last swing low, or like support in this region, before we had a pretty big gap, especially due to this price action where we just rallied to the upside without much pullback, without establishing a lot of support. So on a higher time frame, these were some levels to the downside, but once we broke that 448.5 here, I was definitely thinking that we can make that move lower towards 446. So with that in mind, let's look at the 5-minute chart. In the pre-market, we broke below that 448.5. And I thought for sure that if we had broken this level, that we would continue lower. So off the open, I usually don't do this. This is typically against my rules. I took puts at the test of that level. Reason being, we had broken it, and how many times did we test it without being able to maintain price above that region? In the pre-market, that's quite a few times that we bounced around that area without being able to hold it. So off the open, we were pushing up and touching it. I took a put there. My price target was the pre-market low. So pretty small move in comparison when you look at the day, especially thinking about taking puts off pretty much the high of the day off the open. But we took a trade here and took profits right at that 447.8, which, like I said, was the low of the pre-market. So not a huge move. Did make a decent return, around 20% or so. So that was quick, and that was the only trade I took on the day. But as from there, you can see that we came up, retested that level as well, broke down, found some support near 446.76, broke that, found some support at 446.17, broke that, came all the way down 445, we hit there, broke that, came down, made our low near 444, recovered from there, retested that 445, and ran up and retested that 446.17 and closed right at that level as well. So the levels played out pretty well. I ended my day somewhere around in here. Had I waited like a break below this level and retest, could have been an entry on puts, especially with how heavily we were selling off. One thing that I was looking at when we were printing this was saying that we are getting a bit of a bear flag here. We had this huge sell-off, kind of sideways consolidation, and once we broke out from there. So I did not trade that. That was something I was watching, but I think securing a win early in the day made me a little hesitant to enter more trades and potentially give some of those profits back. So that's maybe something I could work on, is taking good entries if they present themselves. But there wasn't anything too clear for me to take before I got off. There's some better opportunities in here, especially this low a day happening at that 444 level, and just looking at the way price responded, and then coming up and clearing and retesting this level. So they're, especially in the second half of the day, if you caught some of this bounce or this trend reversal, there's some pretty good trades that went pretty much level to level. So there were a lot of trades to be made today, especially to the downside. We pretty much just got flags the whole way down. There's a lot of opportunities to trade that if you play that way. Typically I would go for a flag break and retest. I don't know if we really got very many of those, especially this one. Once it broke, it sold pretty clean. But that's a review on the day. I took a super quick trade in the open. I wish I held those contracts because they more than doubled. I think they were double somewhere down in here. So I can't imagine what they looked like. They were 448 puts. I can't imagine what they looked like by that low a day. So pretty insane day. A lot of trading opportunities there. Happy to get an easy, quick win off the open. Again, not what I typically do, but it worked out for me today. I felt pretty confident about that level and some pre-market price action that made me feel like I could enter that with pretty low risk. With that being said, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I trade live every single Monday through Friday. Stop by if you feel so inclined. With that being said, though, I hope you have a great day. Peace.